they just get stuck between the dimensions. They're not the Lord's, otherwise they'd be in heaven with Him. And so I do believe they're just on Satan's playground. He just hasn't taken them straight to hell. Question. Clarification on the sun. If the light spectrum is changing, our eyes will start seeing things that we haven't previously been able to see before. Well, that's scriptural. Because as the third and the fourth dimensions merge, we're going to be able to see demonic and alien beings. Most people don't see those on a day-to-day basis. I know I was born with the ability to be able to see into the spiritual realm at times, and usually just when the Lord wants to show me something, or allows me to see something, He'll let me see something in the spiritual realm. But the Bible talks about when the veil is lifted, and this is the veil. There's like a veil between the third and fourth dimensions that protect us from seeing into the fourth dimension. Because trust me, folks, you don't want to see into that dimension. It'd be bad enough when they merge into ours and they're here. And so, I don't know what the hows and whys that's going to take, or the hows and whats or wheres that's going to take place. It has anything to do with the sun or not. But that's very prophetic and scriptural in the fact that we will be able to see these beings. And so, if the sun having anything to do with that, I don't know. I just know it's going to happen. Hi, Sherry. One other question. What is your feelings on the 10% tithe giving to the church? I hear a lot of preaching on it and the curse you bring on yourself and your family. I don't know. Malachi talks about it. Churches talk about it. But you know what? There's different things. People have their different views on the tithing and alms and offerings. There's different things, different aspects. And people today don't think that they need to support their ministers, and that's a lie, because you know what? In the Old Testament, Israel took care of the Levites. They weren't given their own land. They were spread out amongst their people. And the people every year, there's tithings, I think it was twice a year, or was it twice every 7 years, something like that. Either way, all of the people had to give over 10% of their total wealth to the tribe of Levi. And that paid for all of their livings. It took care of them. They were self-supporting. And the Bible says the laborer is worthy of his hire. And so, it's so typical. And every time I get these questions, not necessarily attacking, you think of them as 20-year-olds who think, still living at home with mom. And they don't have any concept of having bills paid. Who's going to pay the bills? Who's paying the bills? And go, oh, the Lord will pay your bills if He wants you in ministry. Really, how does He do that? Does He just bring a tree out of the sky and shake it and money falls through the ceiling? He uses His people. And so associated with any ministry, you have bills to cover. You have bills to pay. Now, some of these wolves, and I've been screaming up and down for years, there's a fine line you cross being supported by God's people and fleecing God's people. And they fleece God's people and they serve Baal. Almost all of these people, I can't stand that prophecy club. I hate that club. And all these different groups, it's nothing but serving Baal. The video of the month, the book of the month, commercializing the name of the Lord to make them money. And they're driving their brand new Mercedes and BMWs, and they have mansions and vacation homes and summer homes, and they're fleecing the people instead of just, the Levites never lived as the richest among the Lord's people. They just had they were self-supported. They were supported by the other people, and they had the things that they needed. They had shelter and food and stuff like that. They were supported by them. They weren't the Israel elite rich, being the rich off of the people. And so that's a big difference in being supported by the Lord's people and using the Lord to commercialize His name, selling your videos, your books, and making all kinds of money so that you can live a lifestyle of rich and wealth, being rich and wealthy. So it's a big difference, because either way you've got bills. These ministries online, you've got website fees, you've got hosting fees. When someone goes to your website to look at it, you pay for that. When somebody downloads an archive to listen to it, it costs money. Who's paying for that? And I don't know, so many people think, well, they should just be free. I shouldn't have to pay for it. Somebody has to pay for it, because there's nothing that's free, folks. You're listening to this archive tonight, it's because it's this radio show tonight. It's because the Lord's people have paid for it. I have small donators. And I'm not talking about huge people that donate huge amounts of money to my ministry. I have small donations every month that will come in and help cover costs. And that's about it, you know. If I had more money, which I do need, I could travel the country and just go on road trips or go on missions for the Lord. Yeah, Book of James, widows and orphans. Yeah, taking care of widows and orphans. The churches don't do what the Lord commanded them to do with their tithes. It's another thing. But yeah, Malachi does talk about tithing, and you know what? It's just in all things there has to be a balance, folks. You can't go too far to the left or too. You just have to be balanced. And there comes a time of being supported and just turning into a fleece, and that's what these Benny Hinns and these prophecy clubs and all these people to just use the Lord's name to make a lot of money, and then instead of feeding the poor and clothing the poor and visiting the widowless and everything the Bible says to do, they're buying vacation homes, more cars, more airplanes, facilities just to open mail in. I know Benny Hinn has a building in Florida that's used for nothing but to process all of his mail and money. Meanwhile, he owns a $12 million mansion in California, and you know he has his own private jet and everything else. I mean, these beasts have it down to a science how to fleece the Lord's people, and they're the ones giving them their money, so they're the ones stupid enough to fall for it. And you know, whatever. Just ask the Lord who you should support, who you should, you know, what you should tithe or offerings or alms, it's called. Just ask the Lord to lead you and what to do with it. You know, just ask Him. He'll lead you. I remember years ago when I was in the church still then, asking Him about, you know, I'm tithing to this church every week. And finally one day I just asked Him, I said, you know, who should I be tithing to this church? We automatically assume that the church we go to, we should tithe to. And he had, you know, I was sending money to different places. And ended up leaving the church because, you know, the Lord didn't want me tithing to them. Why should I support them? Obviously, they're not doing what the Lord commands. You know, sometimes your money's better well spent sending it to an organization to feed the children, or the homeless people, soup kitchens, people clothing people in times of need. I really don't want to say the Red Cross because Lord knows I hate that agency. It's nothing but run by a bunch of Satan freaks. But even churches at a time of need, like Katrina, when that disaster hit, will pull together for donations to help the people out. And it's organizations like that you want to help, not these government-funded, government-backed agencies that are defrauding you of your money, because that's what they do. They totally defraud you of your money. What happened to all that money the Red Cross got for the 911? They stuck it in their pockets. We're going to keep it for administrative costs for the next several years. There was so much money sent in that each one of those families that was destroyed and affected by the government's terrorism against our own World Trade Towers, they could have each got millions of dollars apiece. They had to fight for $30,000 apiece. The Red Cross received millions. Where's all that money? It's in their pockets. That's why, you know, don't give to the Red Cross. I was put out a blog on it back then not to give to the Red Cross. Here's a quick question. My house is being attacked and Oregon pugs aren't solving it. Basically,